Hey folks, it's Tom, your frugal prepper. So, I just kind of wanted to show you how the garden fared. Everything made it okay. I've got the tarps back off. Only a little bit of storm damage that I had. These two peppers on the end just got tired up pretty good. They were leaning, so I've staked them, and the rain had washed some of the roots away from the soil there, just because the rain was coming down from this way. So I think they'll make it. I put some soil back over their roots, and just staked them up to give them some support. But if all I lost was 2 pepper plants in that kind of a storm, I'm a happy man. We are talking large amounts of hail, gusts of wind up to 90 miles an hour, sustained winds of 56 miles an hour, and it went on for a good hour last night. A lot more lightning than I've ever seen. It was insane. There were tornadoes around Ohio, I believe. There was a lot of other counties that had trees tipped over onto buildings, crushing houses and stuff, but it was a little bit less here. But yeah, all the plants seem to have fared really well. Everything seems happy and healthy. The tarps held up. No hail got through. Everything on this garden over here is good. They stayed in place. I'll tell you what was weird but really helped is the rain kind of came down the angle of the tarp, and the tarp kind of leaned in where that ridge is, and the water actually weighted the tarp down and held it in place, which is kind of cool. Potatoes are getting huge. They're just leaning over because it's that time in their life to start leaning. It's not because of storm damage. And these tomatoes are a little wilty, but they always are after a day. But this one laying down here, that might be storm damage there. Again, I can live with losing a sucker or two. So all in all, everything has survived and done well and thrived, and no real repairs to make. I do want to show you though, one of these cantaloupe is not like the other. You see this one? How his leaves are a little different than the cantaloupe's leaves, and that's because he's a cucumber. Somebody got the wrong seed in there when they were planting at the nursery. But that's fine, I'll have some cucumbers. I'm not planning on saving seeds from these honey rocks, so I don't care if they cross-pollinate. You can just see here, I'll zoom in, all the tomatoes that are starting on these supersonics. There's just tomatoes all down in through here. Some of them are getting bigger, but just every plant is just full of little tomatoes and happy. On the 4 big beefsteaks, I don't think I've got any little tomatoes on those guys yet. They're blooming though, so I'm waiting on them. They started off a little smaller, and they're still a little bit smaller than the rest. But there's just a ton of blooms on these guys, so I'm sure it won't be long. That's how it's going. I guess this would be like about 4.5 weeks in for, I feel a sprinkle of rain. About 4.5 weeks in for this bed. Oh no, I don't. My hose is leaking and squirting on me. Huh. By the way, folks, these like expandable, really light hoses that crunch up when you're done with them. I inherited a bunch of them. This is the last of them here. But they last about 2 weeks, and then they spring a leak. They're complete garbage. It's one of those as seen on TV products. Don't buy that junk. I just gotta get my good hoses over from the other house. Anyway, I forget what I was saying before I thought it was sprinkling. But yeah, everything seems to have fared real well, and I'm pretty happy. So now hopefully the worst of the storms things are over and we can get to growing and making food. And the pumpkins did well too. I just took a couple big buckets and put over them, and so they lived just fine. They're all happy. I'll zoom in on them for you. Boy, it's really hard to hold it steady when you're zoomed in. And same thing for that one down there. You can see he's looking pretty good. But yeah, I'm excited. It was a lot of work putting up those tarps. It wouldn't seem like it, but it's a lot more work than you think. But I have everything now. I have it pre-staged, so I have to put them on again. It'll go a lot faster. And Wesley was a big help, weren't you?
Yeah. Except the hose.
I know, it's leaking. Why don't you go turn that water off? I'm done with it.
Okay.
Thank you. Alright, I'll talk to y'all later. This is Tom, your Frugal Prepper.